Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Trending Daily. For years, the world has told only one story, that India was the unstoppable regional giant, that its military superiority was unquestionable, that its diplomatic influence was unmatched, and that Pakistan could only remain on the defensive. But then came May 2025, 19 days that changed the conversation forever. A conflict that Pakistan now calls Marka-e-Haq, the battle of truth. And according to Pakistan's military leadership, this was not just a military confrontation. It was the moment when Pakistan exposed the reality behind India's carefully built narrative. A moment where technology met strategy, where discipline defeated arrogance, and where a smaller but determined force proved that modern warfare is not won by size alone. Recently, Pakistan's top military officials held a detailed strategic briefing about the conflict. The briefing was led by Ahmad Sharif Chaudhry, alongside Shafat Ali Khan and Tariq Ghazi. Together, they explained how Pakistan successfully defended itself against what they described as a 5 times bigger enemy. But this briefing was about more than just military claims. It was about exposing propaganda, redefining deterrence, and proving that Pakistan remains a powerful and resilient state despite every challenge thrown against it. Tonight, we break down exactly what happened, how India's strategy backfired, how Pakistan shocked the world, why Rafale became a symbol of humiliation for India, and why Marka-e-Haq may become one of the most important military case studies in modern South Asian history. India entered the conflict believing it controlled the narrative. Its media was confident, its political leadership was aggressive, its military image looked untouchable. But within days, everything changed. The same Rafale jets that were presented as invincible became part of a global controversy. The same country that tried to isolate Pakistan internationally suddenly found itself facing uncomfortable global questions. And the same Pakistan that many believed was economically weak demonstrated operational coordination, resilience, and strategic clarity under pressure. This was not just a military response, it was a message. Pakistan may face economic difficulties, but when it comes to defending sovereignty, deterrence, and national honor, the state remains fully capable. And according to the military briefing, Marka-e-Haq proved exactly that. The conflict began after the Pahalgam incident in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Before any independent investigation could take place, India immediately blamed Pakistan. Its media channels exploded with accusations, war rhetoric intensified, political pressure increased. Pakistan repeatedly demanded evidence and called for transparent investigation mechanisms. But according to Pakistan's position, India had already made its decision. On May 6 and 7, India launched strikes against Pakistan. And that was the moment New Delhi made what Pakistan now describes as a historic miscalculation. India assumed Pakistan would remain diplomatically defensive and militarily cautious. Instead, Pakistan responded with speed, coordination, and confidence. The military briefing emphasized that Pakistan's response was not emotional or reckless. It was calculated. Every branch of the armed forces operated with synchronized planning. And according to the briefing, that coordination completely disrupted India's expectations. Perhaps the most explosive claim from the conflict was Pakistan's assertion that it downed 8 Indian aircrafts, including Rafales. For years, Rafale had been marketed in India as the ultimate symbol of air superiority. Billions of dollars were spent, political speeches praised it endlessly. Indian media treated it almost like a miracle weapon. But during Marka-e-Haq, Pakistan claims that advanced Indian aircraft were neutralized despite India's numerical advantage. According to Pakistan Air Force officials, the conflict demonstrated the effectiveness of Pakistani pilot training, operational planning, radar integration, and electronic warfare capability. This was a huge psychological blow because the issue was not just about aircraft. It was about perception. India spent years projecting technological dominance, but according to Pakistan's narrative, the conflict exposed that expensive equipment alone does not guarantee battlefield success. Training matters, discipline matters, coordination matters, strategy matters. And Pakistan believes Marka-e-Haq proved that clearly. AVM Tariq Ghazi stated that the future belongs to network-centric warfare, meaning military success depends on integrated systems rather than isolated weapon platforms. Pakistan's military leadership argues that this is exactly where Pakistan succeeded. One of the strongest points raised during the briefing was that India's terrorism narrative suffered major damage internationally. For years, India attempted to portray every regional crisis through a single framework: blame Pakistan first. But according to DG ISPR, Marka-e-Haq changed global perceptions. Pakistan argued that India increasingly uses external accusations to divert attention away from internal problems. And during the conflict, many international observers reportedly became more skeptical of immediate blame narratives without transparent evidence. This matters because modern wars are not fought only on battlefields anymore. They are fought in media, diplomacy, public opinion, and digital spaces. Pakistan's military leadership believes that India lost control of the information battle during the crisis. Instead of isolating Pakistan, the conflict raised uncomfortable questions about escalation, political rhetoric, and regional stability. And that became one of Pakistan's biggest strategic victories. Pakistan repeatedly described the conflict as an example of multi-domain warfare, because modern warfare is no longer about tanks crossing borders alone. Today, wars happen simultaneously across multiple dimensions: air operations, cyber warfare, electronic warfare, information warfare, psychological operations, satellite surveillance, and social media influence campaigns. Pakistan says Marka-e-Haq proved that its armed forces are prepared for this new reality. According to the briefing, Pakistan demonstrated resilience and operational readiness across land, air, seas, and cyber domains simultaneously. This is a major statement because Pakistan is effectively signaling that future conflicts will not remain limited or conventional. Any future aggression, according to the doctrine being presented, would trigger coordinated responses across every strategic space. And that changes deterrence calculations completely. The military briefing repeatedly used the phrase Bunyanum Marsoos effect. This referred to the unity between Pakistan's people, government, media, and armed forces during the conflict. According to Pakistan's military leadership, this unity became one of the country's greatest strengths. Despite propaganda campaigns, fake news, psychological pressure, and digital disinformation, Pakistan maintained internal cohesion. This is significant because modern wars heavily depend on morale and public confidence. A country can possess advanced weapons, but if its society becomes divided, confused, or psychologically overwhelmed, military effectiveness suffers. Pakistan argues that the opposite happened during Marka-e-Haq. National morale strengthened, public solidarity increased, and institutional coordination improved. That unity became a force multiplier, and according to the military briefing, this was one of the reasons Pakistan successfully absorbed pressure without strategic collapse. Another important dimension of the briefing came from the Pakistan Navy. Rear Admiral Shafat Ali Khan stated that Pakistan Navy maintained full operational readiness throughout the conflict. He also revealed that Pakistan possessed preparedness to target India's aircraft carrier Vikrant if escalation intensified. That statement carried enormous strategic weight. Aircraft carriers represent prestige, influence, and regional dominance. By openly mentioning Vikrant, Pakistan was signaling that India's most valuable military assets are not beyond reach. The Navy also emphasized securing maritime trade routes and protecting regional sea lanes during the crisis. This was important because the Arabian Sea remains economically critical for the entire region. Pakistan's message was clear: deterrence does not stop at land borders. Pakistan is prepared across every operational domain. One of the boldest statements during the briefing was DG ISPR's warning about the politicization of Indian military leadership. Pakistan argued that military operations in India are increasingly linked to domestic politics and electoral messaging. And according to Pakistan, this creates a dangerous environment where escalation risks become tied to political popularity. This concern is serious because both countries possess nuclear weapons. Any military miscalculation could become catastrophic. Pakistan therefore framed itself during the briefing as the more responsible actor. A country seeking peace but maintaining credible deterrence. A country avoiding escalation while remaining fully capable of defending itself. And according to Pakistan's narrative, Marka-e-Haq demonstrated exactly that balance. Strength without recklessness. Capability without desperation. Pakistan's military leadership also claimed that the conflict elevated Pakistan's global standing. The briefing described Pakistan as a responsible and geopolitically significant middle power because despite intense pressure, Pakistan avoided uncontrolled escalation. It defended itself, maintained deterrence, and accepted a ceasefire once strategic objectives were achieved. The conflict ended on May 10th through a ceasefire reportedly brokered by the US. But according to Pakistan's perspective, the ceasefire itself reflected something important. The world recognized how dangerous the situation had become, and the world also witnessed that Pakistan could not be ignored, intimidated, or strategically cornered. Marka-e-Haq was more than a conflict. It was a strategic message. Pakistan wanted to show the world that military strength is not measured only by size or budget. It is measured by readiness, coordination, morale, discipline, and national unity. According to Pakistan's military leadership, the conflict proved several things clearly. That Pakistan remains fully capable of defending itself, that India's narrative dominance can be challenged, that future wars will be multi-domain and technology-driven, and that deterrence in South Asia remains critically important. Most importantly, Pakistan believes Marka-e-Haq exposed a reality many underestimated. A smaller nation with strategic clarity can still reshape the battlefield against a larger opponent. And in Pakistan's eyes, that is exactly what happened. The battle of truth. Marka-e-Haq. This is Makhdoom Shahabuddin. You were watching Trending Daily. See you in the next episode.